Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Kaycee Reyes. You can call me Doc Kaycee. I'm a skin doctor, preventive medicine practitioner, and the founder of Luminisce. And I'm happy to share with you that Luminisce has started with a new brand called Soul Revive. Soul Revive is our mobile preventive medicine branch that focuses on proven wellness therapies that can heal you internally. Because we believe that if you want to look good, you have to feel good. In today's episode, we invited one of our experts in Soul Revive family. But before we continue, please don't forget to like our video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell if you want to learn more of our content. I want to introduce one of our go-to life coaches in Soul Revive, Miss Sheila Tan. And I'm very happy that she's here because she's been helping us with life coaching of our managers, doctors, nurses in the clinic. It's a big help. And actually, she's helping us with managing our patients to build on their mental health and leadership skills. Hi Sheila, I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. Hi everyone, I'm Sheila Tan. I'm an executive coach, and I do personal coaching, relationship coaching, and team coaching.
So I just want to share with everyone why Soul Revive started. I experienced burnout 4 years ago. That's why I tried to study burnout, and then it led me to studying preventive medicine in Germany, in Dresden University. And from there, I learned the importance of prevention, the powers of prevention. And I was able to cure myself or treat myself, not actually cure because it's a work in progress. So from there, I learned that there's so many inflammation that's been happening with everyone. And then I just target the things that we can control to lessen those inflammation. We just want to lessen the inflammation by targeting the food that we should actually eat. And from what I've learned, it's also the actions of the hormones and micronutrient deficiency, which is very important. But in my case, my concern is burnout, which is part of stress medicine. And one part of that is life coaching, which is a big help to me. So I just want to ask, can you elaborate what part of life coaching is really important in prevention?
And I like that you mentioned inflammation because I myself experienced that. And sometimes, like just yesterday, I was trying this dress on and it was too tight for me. And today it was already loose. And I was wondering what was different from yesterday versus today. Because yesterday I had so many things in my mind and I was so stressed. So sometimes it has to do with the things that we take in, but sometimes it's also our own stress level. How we think, maybe if we're having anxiety, if we're having panic attacks, that affects the body as well. And in life coaching, I help my coachees understand their own strategy for creating stress. Diba? It's interesting. We say your own strategy for creating stress. Many people would say, oh, my boss stresses me. It's my husband, my wife that stresses me. But in coaching, we want to be in control of what's happening to us. So instead of blaming it on external factors, we say, how are you doing that to yourself? So many people would tend to blame external factors on whatever stress or anxiety that they're experiencing. But it's actually within our control. And not a lot of people do that. So in coaching, I help people detect how their thinking causes the problem. Because what's happening out there is not a problem in itself. What makes the problem a problem is how we think about it and how we're approaching it.
So with that, how can you be in that zone, like focus zone that you want to fix it?
So for people who are willing, it makes the job a lot easier for me because they themselves are aware of when it triggers them. But for people who are unwilling, sometimes it's feedback from people. Sometimes it's their quality of life. I say that our quality of life is a feedback of our thinking and our beliefs. So if we're always having conflict with other people, if it's one person, it could be the other person. If it's two people, it could be them. But if it's like five, maybe we could ask the question, what if it's what I do that gives me this response from people? What if I've changed jobs several times and still I'm stressed? Still I have problems with my boss? Then it's probably how I think and how I'm perceiving things that make things stressful for me.
So What are the work-related stress symptoms or problems that you often see on your clients and your patients?
There's a wide range. Some people's problems are very personal. Like they feel lonely, they feel like they're not in a good relationship, and that affects their work. Sometimes it's just the lack of boundaries, especially with the work from home arrangement during the pandemic. They feel like work and life have overlapped. People expect me to respond to emails at midnight. People expect me to be on call 24/7. So that lack of physical and emotional boundaries has been a problem too. And a lot of them have problems with bosses. They feel like my boss doesn't care about me, my boss just orders me around, my boss doesn't even acknowledge my work. So, pre-pandemic, we had a lot of ways to distract ourselves. And all of a sudden, during the pandemic, all of these are not available anymore. So people are left to themselves. Some are isolated on their own. Some are isolated with their families.
So I agree, work stress is really relevant right now. From what I've been experiencing in the clinic and looking at the patients, it's really absenteeism, which is a very big impact in the company.
There are a lot of trainings that are available. My training is based on neuro-linguistic programming and neurosemantics. So we introduce a person's control over their thoughts and feelings. When I coach, I focus on a person's structure of thinking. Because when we coach to content, we're able to fix one issue and then it happens again in another context. If we fix the process or structure, it becomes permanent and pervasive in all the aspects of a person's life.
And that would take how many months?
Usually, I'd have at least 6 sessions with a client, but they would experience transformation every session. Because just realizing what kind of thinking do I have that makes my problem a problem and being able to shift that could be transformational. If I change my response, I change how I think, I change how I interact with people, then the problem is not there anymore.
Some people, they have trauma. So how do you deal with that?
So trauma is when we define it as when something highly emotional happens and people keep repeating that movie in their minds. So we use the metaphor of a movie. They repeat it so many times that the body feels like it went through that event so many times, such that just thinking about it, they already manifest physiologically. So some would have tension, some would tremble. So what we do in trauma healing is we re-edit that movie in their minds so that it loses that emotional charge.
Like in Luminisce, we do the outer and we also do the inner beauty. We believe that in order to look good, you have to feel good.
Right. And I really love that at Luminisce, we're about holistic interventions, right? We say that the mind and body are part of the same system. Even if I'm exercising every day, I'm eating the right kind of food, if I always have fears as my thoughts, if I have scarcity mindset, I'm always gonna feel like someone's running after me. So even if we work on everything that a doctor would prescribe, for example, good food, exercise, vitamins, and all these facials, but if internally we're filled with thoughts that are unhealthy, it affects physical as well. So even if someone is doing exactly what science says we're supposed to do, if we're filled with fear, then we still won't have a healthy mind and body. And that's actually where both of our approaches will complement each other.
I agree, Sheila. Kasi even in the skin, you can see the inflammation. So what we do, we target everything. We target what we can control. For example, nutrition, environmental medicine, like of course, if you're exposed to molds or to mercury poisoning, and if you're micronutrient deficient, that's very important. And also hormones, if there are hormonal imbalances. And we also look at your sleep. And from that, those are the things that we can control.
A lot of people are gonna say, I'm not able to eat anymore. Why am I still so fat? Right? I'm not able to sleep, I'm not able to eat. And actually, it might not be weight gain. It might actually be inflammation. And people who have autoimmune diseases would usually be people who have problems with boundaries. So they feel so stressed because they're not able to say no, and people around them just keep dictating on them who they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to do, and they're overly conscious of other people's opinion. And the body feels so stressed, it feels that it's attacking itself. And also with the pandemic, I've been talking about what we call the collective grief. Like everybody, whether you're rich, you're poor, you have a small house or a big house, because there's always a possibility of something might happen to me. Something might happen to my loved ones. The world that I knew of is not there anymore. So there's that collective grief that people just don't know how to approach. They don't know how to deal with it. And that's where coaching, what we call talk therapy, helps. Because many times, just in listening to ourselves talk, we realize, oh, that doesn't make any sense pala. Or just having someone to bounce your ideas with, you realize, oh, it's self-imposed stress. And it's not that big of a deal after all. But if they're all inside, it sounds to us like everything is real. They say that the gut is like the second brain. And in fact, sometimes it's smarter because when we eat poisonous food, we have diarrhea and all of these things, food poisoning, right? But the mind, we can keep feeding it with toxic thoughts. I'm stupid, I'm gonna lose my job, nobody will like me, and our mind will just keep taking that. Without people being conscious of it, affects our digestion, affects our metabolism, affects our immunity.
Yeah, I agree with that because most of the hormones in the body, it's being produced in the gut. You should have a good fighting bacteria in the gut to control every toxins that you swallow that's being absorbed by the body. Because if you don't have a good gut, what's going to happen is you're not going to produce these good hormones, which is important on how you respond to stress and inflammation.
Right.
That's why probiotics is a very in thing today. It's
Right.
really important to take probiotics and then control your food. When you're stressed, the gut flora changes.
Right.
So it's interconnected.
Yeah.
But it's as important as the mind.
Yeah, it all comes together. You can't say, I'm working on the mind, so the body's gonna take care of itself. Or the other way around. If we take care of just the body but not the mind, then it's not gonna work as well. So we have to take care of the whole system.
Since you've been dealing with companies, how do you handle the CEO and then how do you handle the employees?
Well, I start with what they're experiencing. So I say that whatever the quality of your life is, that tells you the quality of your thoughts and your beliefs. Like a lot of employees have difficulty speaking up to their bosses. So they feel like their bosses are abusing them, don't appreciate them. But if I talk to the bosses, sometimes it's very different. I encourage the employees to be aware of their emotions and then to speak up, to assert themselves. Because a lot of people have this victim mentality. And so being able to voice out our thoughts and emotions is a very important thing. It also empowers us and takes us away from that victim mentality.
With the work stress, is it more stressful for the manager or for the CEO if you're going to compare that with the stress of the employee, or is it the same?
And that's interesting. A CEO could have so many more responsibilities, but the way they think of things is very different, and so they may be less stressed.
Okay.
It's their structure of thoughts.
So how does a CEO or a manager think?
Well, it also depends on a lot of things, a lot of personalities, but the ideal ones are more kind and compassionate. They're also very aware of themselves, so they know how they come across. Those are the good bosses. So being aware and what we call being mindful of our experiences, how we come across is very important. A lot of people don't manage their emotions, and so what their problems are at home leaks into the office because they're not able to manage it.
What about for managers and for employees? What do you prescribe to them?
So understand where the stress is coming from. Is it really what's outside, or is it how I think of it? Is there a way for me to think of it differently? Is something within my control to change my experience? If it's not within my control, is it within my power of influence? I think a lot of people have problems with asking. So they're just gonna say, there's no hope. they're not gonna listen to me. But have you tried? Because bosses want feedback about what's happening below the organization on the ground. And if they don't get that, they're not able to do anything to change the experience of their employees.
We're learning so much from you, Sheila. Thank you so much. So if you guys are interested with life coaching, please check out Soul Revive. It's a preventive medicine branch of Luminisce, and it's one of our therapy. Life coaching is one of the main therapy to heal the inner self. And right now, I just have one last question for you. Do you have an actionable tip for someone who's been undergoing stress right now at work?
To close, I would like to leave you with 3 questions that you can use when you're in a stressful situation. 1, what can you shift in your thinking that will change your perspective of things? 2, who do you need to be so that you'll have more control about the things that are causing you stress? 3, what influence do you have on your external environment so that you can lessen the problems that are outside of you for yourself and for other people? So for today, I'm taking over Ask Doc Kaycee to answer your question. Mindfulness is being aware of our thoughts, emotions, mental, emotional, and physical experience in the moment. Being able to name our emotions is one of the key elements of emotional intelligence. So to practice mindfulness, ask yourself, what am I thinking now? What am I experiencing with regards to my internal and external world? To take it one step further, once we are mindful, we can also ask ourselves, is my current mental and emotional state appropriate to whatever I am going to do? If it's not, then you could make adjustments to it. For example, you're going to attend a meeting and you just had an argument with your partner. So ask yourself, what state am I in? At what level am I experiencing this state? And is this helpful to my role in the meeting? And if it's not helpful, then you can adjust your mental and emotional state that is appropriate to the experience or the task that you're going to do.
Thank you, Sheila. So if you're feeling stressed lately, whether from work or from other things, I hope that you were able to learn something from our episode today that will make your lives a little healthier, a little relaxed, and more beautiful. Before you go, please don't forget to like our video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell to learn from me and from Luminisce.